Okay. So I think I see the little record button going. So I'm going to restart my intro really quick, because also, Sahar, I don't know when you just were kicked off or not. But my name is Jade Scangarello. I support our underwriting and actuarial talent programs. So that's the internships and the LDP programs. I myself was a previous intern and just fell in love with the company, the culture, the values, and it really resonated with me. And so for full-time, I jumped into the HR leadership development program. And underwriting has a leadership development program too. Our internship is a pipeline for that program. We also have new hire jobs available too. So there's actually quite a bit of full-time opportunities for underwriting in the future. But just going back to it, so my background is a little more in HR, talent development, and I'm here working with our underwriting and actuaries on their internships and their leadership development programs. So now finally I'll hand it off to Amanda, so you can introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Amanda Allen. I graduated from Quinnipiac University up in Connecticut in 2018. I did not intern at Aetna. I interned at a smaller company as a data analyst. But once I started working at Aetna, just in their new hire training in 2018, I fell in love with the company too, just like Jade said. I've been there for about 2 years now, and I recently moved into their leadership development program. So now I'm a part of the ULDP that Jade supports. But yeah.
Okay, I will jump into this and I will just share off the bat. So for this current recruiting season, so for thinking about June of 2021, our full-time roles are pretty much full. So that's why today we'll be focusing a lot on the internship, which is for juniors who will be rising seniors next summer. I will advance this, and Sahar, as much as you want to jump in, please feel free to. I know we are recording now, but you can also chat. If you don't want to interrupt or something, you can throw it in the chat and we can talk about it later too. Whatever you feel comfortable with.
Perfect, thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so here's our agenda today. It's kind of like a funnel. So we're going to start thinking about the healthcare industry overall. Then we're going to go into CVS, which is our parent company. And then we're going to specifically talk about Aetna and Aetna underwriting, and then specifically our underwriting internship. And we'll get into a little bit of the benefits of them, a little bit more around the structure of the internship and things like that. And then we can go over questions like I mentioned. So starting right broad scheme here with like a 10,000 foot view, what is going on in the healthcare industry? Why would you be excited about it? And why should it be an industry that you pay attention to? So it's probably no secret that the healthcare industry is extremely complex. We have a lot of different priorities happening. We have a lot of different pieces in motion at all times. It is highly regulated, which means we have to pay special attention to all the regulations that come out, and they feel like they come out all the time, as it also depends on specific states. And we do business in all of our states. We do commercial business as well as government business. So there's a lot to pay attention to just from an insurance standpoint, but then within the industry itself, here on the left are just so many factors that have come into play, a couple of them being focusing on like data. So how do we utilize data in a way that respects privacy, but also lets us get to know our members and patients a little bit better, to individualize their care and make it a little more specialized to them. Things around research around genetics and what that tells us around different diseases. Wellness programs are becoming extremely popular for employers, for their employees, particularly as we think about now, us all working from home, or most of us working from home. How do we stay safe? How do we stay well? That's becoming a really big factor in a lot of our customers. A lot of different advances in technology. You have a lot of economic factors that come into play, like those who are uninsured within our population in our country. the push towards consumerism. So again, that individualized experience, which is different than it ever has been. And like I said, government regulation. So there's a lot happening in this industry, right? And it's been happening like this for years. It's fast paced, it's a dynamic. You have to be able to pivot and adapt pretty quickly. And then put on top of it everything happening with this pandemic. So I hope that as I'm speaking, you and your families are well and safe and healthy. It has been a crazy time, and it's been an unprecedented time for our whole country, let alone our industry. And so we have done a lot of different things to try to pivot as a company. The biggest example is CVS Health, which you probably know or have seen in the news or have seen ads or something. Is one of the largest chains that was the first to start having COVID-19 testing across the country. And by turning their parking lots, for example, into testing centers that you can just drive through, no contact, safer for our employees, safer for those who are trying to get tested. And they rolled that out across the country extremely quickly. So it's, again, all about being fast paced and being able to really pivot for what's needed and what's going on for our members and our customers. So again, that's high level view of the healthcare industry. And now talking about CVS Health. So CVS is a Fortune 10 company. We have over 250,000 employees. And there are three basic segments of CVS Health that you can think of. The first is retail, as well as long-term care. And then you'll see on the bottom here, we have some of those businesses that align to it that probably sound familiar to you. So that's the pharmacy, that's our mini clinics, that's Omnicare. And then our other second business segment is pharmacy services. So that's like our Caremark business, our specialty businesses, as well as our Quorum business. And then finally, the third one is our healthcare insurance. This is Aetna. This is what CVS Health acquired in 2018. And that's where we are. And that's where our internship falls. So if this advances, awesome. So as a company, we have a few strategic imperatives. And again, these reflect kind of what's going on in our industry and what's becoming a priority. So for example, being local, and that kind of goes with being what we call member obsessed. So how do we focus on our individual members and give them what they need in their resources that are local and available to them? Meet them where they are in their health journey and where they are around the country and around the world. Leading by change is another priority. Keeping it simple, which anyone who has interacted with the healthcare industry, whether it's a doctor visit or a major surgery or a dental checkup, it can be more complicated than you feel like it may need to be. So our goal is to really try to keep it as simple as possible. Attracting and inspiring top talent is, of course, a priority. People are a really big aspect of our culture. Of course, improving health. That is the mission of our company, is to help people along their healthcare journeys. And then finally, optimizing performance and services is another strategic imperative. And here are our values. This is what Amanda and I kind of were talking about when we said, like, the company values really coincide with what we value as personal human beings. So we have 5 values here: innovation, collaboration, caring, integrity, and accountability. And there is no, this isn't just talking the talk, but we really strive, no matter where you are in the company, to walk the walk on this too. Living by these values is on our scorecards. We get evaluated on it every year. You have to be able to give examples of how do you take these values and actually embody them in how you work. And so we take this very seriously. It's part of every decision that we're making. Kind of at the center of this all is really our members and customers. So are we making sure that we're serving our members and customers as they should be, and treating them with respect and integrity too? So that's a little bit about our values. And at a glance, here's a fun slide. We have, like I said, over 250,000 employees. That fluctuates sometimes up to 300,000. We have 30,000 minute clinics all over the country. What else? We're a Fortune 10, so officially we're a Fortune 8 company. About 70% of the entire US population lives within 3 miles of a CVS. If you're sitting there, you're probably thinking of a few near you. I already know there's 2 within a few miles of me personally. It's pretty great and pretty exciting to work at a company with this big of a reach, as well as this many opportunities for you for a career path. And finally, before I hand it off to Amanda, I will talk about Aetna at a glance. So Aetna, like we talked about earlier, is a small section of CVS Health. We have about 50,000 employees. Our customers are mostly employer groups. So those are the big, like you can think of the big employers, like the airline companies, for example, or maybe smaller employers with about 50 people that they have. So we span different sizes of employer groups. We also have individuals as our customers. We have a whole student health organization too. So college students are also make up some of our members. And we also have a few government contracts. So we have different healthcare plans and government sponsored plans. So think of your Medicare and Medicaid types of plans as well and customers as well. So we have 23.5 million medical members across the country. We also have a significant amount of dental customers and pharmacy members. So we don't just do medical, traditional in that sense. We also have some specialty products as well. And just a couple of other really interesting facts. Oh, I'm sorry if you can't see this last column. Not sure if my little videos are hiding the value added technology, but we do strive to have technology make this healthcare system a little bit more convenient, a little easier to use and understand, have information at your fingertips. But that's a huge priority of ours too. So I will stop talking and I'm going to hand it off to Amanda to now dive a little bit deeper into specifically Aetna underwriting, and then we'll talk about the underwriting internship.
Thanks, Jade. You can go to the next slide. Oh, okay. So what do underwriters do at Aetna? We price what our customers' rates should be for their health insurance. So we price new and renewal businesses. So these are maybe new customers we're trying to acquire or existing customers that we're trying to renew every year. And our goal is to sell and retain our profitable customers. So if we have a group that is spending a lot more in their claims than what we're getting in their premium, or if they're really risky, we would rather kind of renew and get groups that are less risky and more profitable to us. We also work with internal partners like sales to negotiate prices and kind of get customers exactly what they need. So what I mean by that is maybe there's a certain plan or certain benefits that might work better for a group. So we'll kind of work with sales to figure out what we can do for them. And we'll also negotiate pricing to kind of see what makes sense to still have us remain profitable. We also have standards that we go by. So we act as a strategic partner to kind of support our overall book of business. And we actually do collaborate with actuarial a lot. So actuarial, sorry, I can't say that word today. They kind of develop the factors that we use in our pricing. So for example, they'll have certain industry factors, certain age sex factors that we use when we're determining what pricing we should be using. So we'll work with them if we're questioning a certain factor or if we're trying to understand a certain factor. And they'll kind of work with us too. And we also assist our internal partners in installation and billing. So when we sell a group or when we renew a group, we want to make sure that their rates are all right in our system and their benefits are all right in their system. And basically that everything is all set up correctly. That way they can get the best experience because we wouldn't want them to have anything that's wrong. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the underwriting internship now. So next slide. the goal of the underwriting internship is to give you guys challenging assignments in underwriting and get you support from your team and from other underwriters. So I haven't been an underwriting intern, as I said, but I have worked with some of the underwriting interns. I'll get into a little bit about that later. But you do get exposure to actually what underwriting is and what underwriters do. So you get assigned to actual cases and actual projects that like I would work on. And you'll also have the opportunity to network with other underwriters and with senior leaders. So maybe you'll network with underwriters on your team, in your department. You'll network with underwriters in the leadership program. And there's also opportunities to kind of hear from senior leaders at Aetna where that you in and outside of underwriting. And a really big benefit of the underwriting internship program is that you'll get consideration for full-time hire. So that could be in our new hire training or in our underwriting leadership development program. And like I said, I started in the new hire training and I worked and transitioned into the leadership program. Both are really good programs, but you'll get consideration for both of those. And our underwriting internship is 10 weeks long, runs from June 7th to August 13th of next summer. So these are just a couple benefits to the program. So the first is you have a dedicated intern committee. So there's a group of people in the underwriting leadership program that kind of plan out your summer. They'll set up certain trainings or leader speaker series or things like that throughout the 10 weeks for you. The second is the speaker series. So this is where you can network with senior leaders. Last summer, we had every single week a higher up director or executive kind of talk to us about their experience at Aetna, their experience in their careers, offering any kind of advice for you. And you had the opportunity to kind of ask them questions too, which was really cool. You also have exposure to underwriting training, like I said. You'll work on like real cases and go through real underwriting training. There's networking opportunities and social activities. So social activities are within the internship. So for example, you could do like happy hours with other interns or within your own department. So last summer, my department had like a team outing that our interns got to go to, which was a lot of fun. You'll also get to participate in internship events for all interns. So there was a volunteering event last summer, Jade, which...
Yeah, so we partnered for that with Brave, which is a colleague resource group. I'm actually a part of that colleague resource group, specifically for veterans and military. So, or giving back, I should say, to the veteran and military community. And so we did a virtual volunteer event because our internship was virtual last year, where we worked with Operation Gratitude, which is an amazing organization that gives back to those who are, actually they give back to a number of groups. So maybe some active duty military that are currently deployed, to families they also give back to, as well as veterans. But what we specifically did was mail out paracord, which is basically like a thick, like a rope kind of thing, to our interns and new hires. And with a video, they were able to show how they can make that into a bracelet. So every single person made 5 bracelets that they sent to Operation Gratitude. And those bracelets get put into every single care package that gets sent to those who are currently deployed all over the world. And it's not just a bracelet, right? There's a lot of care that goes into it. Those who are serving understand that people volunteered their time to do this. And I won't get too into it too much, but also these bracelets are meant to actually help out when they are maybe doing an operation, or we had a couple of stories where maybe there was a unit that was in trouble. They undid really quickly their paracord bracelet into the original rope, and they were able to signal for help so that the helicopters knew where to find them. So I won't go into it too deep into it, but we really did try to incorporate a volunteer event that we could do virtually that was giving back to a very deserving community that we have really great ties to as a company. And and give back in a way that is very meaningful, even though we couldn't do it together as a large group. So thanks for that, Amanda.
Yeah. So yeah, last year obviously was virtual, but every summer they do a big volunteering event for all the interns. And also as an intern, you'll get a buddy and a mentor. So you get a mentor on your team that kind of helps you through your casework, your training, kind of questions like that. But you'll also get a buddy in the leadership program that helps you with your capstone project, with your final presentation, and kind of any questions you have along the way. So you will have two really good resources that you meet with weekly or bi-weekly that are really helpful to you. And like I've mentioned, you get real underwriting experience. You can kind of see if it's a fit for you. So these are some of the benefits that we have for interns. In the past, we've offered housing assistance for those who need to relocate to our Hartford office. But since our internship is going to be virtual next summer, there's not going to be a need to relocate. So we won't be offering that. But you will get holidays off. So I think the only holiday during the internship is July 4th. So you do get that day off. Like we've mentioned, you get an increased likelihood to receive a full-time offer, whether it's in the new hire training or in the ULDP. And there are opportunities to join colleague resource groups. So like Jade mentioned, she was in BRAVE for veterans. I'm a member of WISE, which is for Women in Success. And there's a lot of different ones that you could join. There are various work locations, but again, it is virtual next summer. And there's also colleague discount programs that we have through CVS Health that you'll have access to.
And I should also clarify, so last year was virtual. We're pretty much banking on this year to be virtual. If that's just like us telling you personally, we have a really good feeling it's going to be virtual. It hasn't been officially decided yet for us to communicate out, but we are kind of going along the path that we have the blueprint from last summer that we'll be able to implement this summer. So we're kind of going along the course that's most likely as, you know, our senior leaders are thinking about the health and safety of all of our colleagues, and that includes our interns too. So just that clarifying comment.
Thanks, Jade. And these are just a couple stats about our program from last summer. So for the corporate intern program, we had 15,000 people apply, and we hired 2% of applicants. So we had about 300 total interns. And we've mentioned that it was virtual. We had students from 115 different colleges come, and our average GPA was a 3.6. I'm going to point out you only need a 3.0 to actually apply to the program. But just for like a benchmark, we had the average of a 3.6. And for underwriting specifically, we had almost 450 people apply. We hired 4%, which is about 20 underwriting interns. We had 15 people or 15 colleges that were represented from that internship. And the average GPA was 3.53. So this is our recruiting process for the internship. So some of our target majors are risk management, statistics, math, economics, and any other business-related degree. And to be eligible to apply to the internship, you need to have a graduation date of either the winter of 2021 or the summer of 2022. So the first step is to actually apply online at cvshealth.com for jobs. And next, you'll have a hire review interview. So if you're not familiar with this is a little new for CVS and Aetna too, but you'll basically get a link that you have a few days to do, and you'll have 5 or 6 questions that show up on a screen, and you have 3 minutes to record yourself answering those questions, and then you submit it, and they get reviewed. If you move forward, you'll have an additional interview with either people in the LDP or with managers, and if you're made and the next step would be to get an offer if you move forward from that. And like Jade mentioned, we only have our internship available right now because we filled all of our full-time offers, but this would be where you would apply to that.
And Marielle, I'm guessing it may make sense for us to send this to you too, in case you want to bust this out. Because I don't think I included it in the write-up, which I apologize, but folks can either find it by clicking this underwriting internship link that's in the black font, or going onto the jobs.cvs.com and searching for that specific rec number. You can also search the keywords underwriting, and you can also search the keyword internship, and you'll find it too.
Perfect, thank you.
Yeah, okay. So now we threw a lot of information at you, and we are happy to answer any question that maybe it went all the way back to the beginning regarding the industry and CVS Health, maybe questions about Aetna, or specifically our underwriting internship, but we are all ears in case you have questions.
All right. So what exposure do underwriting interns get to actuaries in Aetna?
So I'll give you an example. I mentored 2 interns last summer for my team, and they wanted to work on a project that they heard my team talking about an issue that was coming up with some of the factors in our system where we were questioning it a lot. So they came to our managers, and wanted to do their project for the summer on kind of finding out more about that issue. So they actually got to reach out to actuaries and to people who worked on that rating system to kind of learn more about what was going on and kind of how they were pricing their factors. So that was one way that they got some exposure to actuarial. But like I said, if you don't do a project like that or work like in a work group like that, just going through your cases, you'll talk to them kind of if you're questioning something about